As live music fans and musicians, we're all at risk for permanent hearing damage. The standard options for ear protection are foam earplugs, which block everything out so you can't hear anything at all. And then there are custom musician earplugs, which are really expensive. Vibes high-fidelity earplugs, as seen on Shark Tank, are affordable, reusable earplugs designed for live music fans and musicians. Instead of blocking out all sound, Vibes reduce the volume of loud live music to a safer and more comfortable level that prevents permanent hearing damage and ear pain, while still allowing you to hear the music clearly, whether you're a live music fan or a musician. Vibes' clear, low-profile design make them virtually invisible in your ears so you can be discreet about wearing hearing protection in public. Each pair also includes a carrying case and 3 sizes of interchangeable ear tips to ensure a comfortable fit for any sized ear. Vibes are used by hundreds of thousands of live music fans and musicians around the world, and they're trusted by the country's top professional orchestras and college music programs who outfit their musicians with them. Go to vibesearplugs.com/NSR to learn more and to get yourself a pair of Vibes high-fidelity earplugs for less than $30. That's vibesearplugs.com/NSR. vibesearplugs.com/NSR. Vibes high-fidelity earplugs are great for all live music fans and musicians, and they make a great holiday gift. So check them out. Protect your ears with Vibes.
All of us have that deadhead on our Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever end of the year holiday gift giving list.
New Year's.
Or a
New
bunch
Year's
of
list
them.
that has like every Grateful Dead thing on the planet, and you don't know what to get them.
You know, they don't have that going down the road feeling bad t-shirt from Shop Tour Bus.
Nope, they sure don't. I'll bet they don't have the Steal Your Tapes hoodie either.
Nope.
And they got a restock on a bunch of their hoodies. They were sold out, but I looked, and there's a lot of them available now for the cold weather.
That's right. Go to shoptourbus.com or at shoptourbus on Instagram. Check out what we're talking about. They're going to save you having to think about what to get that person.
That's right.
And you don't know what to get them. And when they open it, there's going to be a bunch of extras in the box. There might even be a Miracle Grateful Dead bootleg cassette tape in there as well. They're going to be stoked.
An extra present.
That's right. And you get an extra present when you put in the promo code
No Simple Road, all one word.
when you're checking out. And you are going to get free shipping from the folks over at Shop Tour Bus. So don't fret. Don't worry. Don't fret your pretty little heads.
And it's free shipping, so stock up. Get that hoodie, that hat, that shirt, and get it all.
Get it all. Support the family. ShopTourbus.com.
No Simple Road. Yeah, here we go.
I know the road may seem to go on forever and a lifetime.
You got all your Christmas shopping done, Apple? You done?
No.
No.
Why not, man?
Absolutely
It's
not.
Pretty
better
close
hurry
to
up.
Christmas, dude. It's the 19th, man.
I don't know.
We fucking Santa Claus. You're supposed to be done like 6 months ago.
Well, that's a whole different thing. You're asking Apple. Yeah, I don't. I mean, basically, I gotta get gifts for you guys.
Hey now, No Simple Road family.
Yeah.
It's Mel.
And Aaron.
And Apple Santa.
And we're back for another episode of No Simple Road.
We're back.
Aren't you excited?
Yeah.
It's the week before Christmas.
and we're giving you such an awesome present today.
That's right, everybody. Madeline Hawthorne is in the house with No Simple Road this week. Yeah, man.
Straight from Bozeman.
That, you know, Montana's got some good shit.
It's popping.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not popping. It's really sleepy.
Yeah,
no
you
one
guys
go
don't wanna
there.
go
And
there.
it's really
Sucks.
ugly.
Mhm. It's kind of like Portland.
There's no room for growth or anything.
Nope.
No.
Anyway,
No.
if you haven't heard of Madeline, you have now. You're welcome.
Yes.
And any female vocalist that can do what she does, I'm all for it, man. This is a powerhouse.
It's amazing to dedicate your life to something so all-encompassing later on in life. Like, you know, she wasn't doing this at 19 and 20. She was in college doing her thing, and then she started up and given it all she has, and she has been killing it.
It's hard anytime in your life, but when you're trying to do stuff not in your 20s anymore,
it's a little extra hard the older you get.
I feel especially artistry, you know, because artistry, you kind of like specifically like acting, modeling, music, you have to give your life to that. It's hard to be part-time in that and have any success.
Yeah.
You know, you have to kind of give it your all.
That's true. And she's definitely doing that.
Absolutely.
And she's got some dates coming up.
Yeah,
Well,
she's got some dates coming up.
Well, she did her last show on the 14th, which was just not too long ago. Last show of the year, but she has, Apple.
Well, you can go to MadelineHawthorne.com to check out what she's doing, to see about her new album, The Tales from the Late Nights and Long Drives, and her new single, Howl at the Moon. And then tour dates, it'll be picking back up January 30th. And she's got a bunch of dates in Colorado, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming. Then she's coming through Oregon, hitting Eugene, Bend, and Portland, on up to Seattle, Bellingham, and then back over to Idaho and Montana.
Just winging on over to London and jamming.
Jam with the Stones.
Tales from Late Nights and Long Drives is the name of the new album. And I highly suggest and urge all of you to go to your streaming platform and give that a listen while you're wrapping presents.
Presents is what you meant to say. Christmas presents.
I don't know how I ended up with a C at the beginning
Christmas
of presents.
Oh,
yeah. Thanks, babe. Yeah. While you're wrapping presents out there, everybody, listen to Madeline. And you get the idea. Do we do the thing?
We're going to do the thing. We're going to go to www.nosimpleroad.com, right?
Yep, that's our website.
Why are we going to go there?
So you can get No Simple Road merch, or you can sign up for the newsletter.
Or sign up for a tarot reading with Aaron and I.
Yeah, man. You can also follow us on the socials at No Simple Road. You can go to patreon.com/No Simple Road. That is how you can support No Simple Road. Hey, for all you who don't already know, No Simple Road does cost $1 a month. And nobody's checking, but the way that you pay for that $1 a month is going to patreon.com.
Nobody's really checking, but we're looking. You know,
Apple's checking. He's got the list of all y'all. He's checking it twice.
That's
right.
Yeah, everybody that's signed up for Patreon is automatically on Santa's nice list.
Don't worry though, he's not watching you while you're sleeping, because that'd
creepy.
be yeah, man. And then also, you can leave us a review
on Apple Podcasts.
That's right. We got a couple of reviews.
Yeah, we had 2 people that responded to our plea before the end of the year.
Thank you so much. Apple will read
I'll read
one.
the first one because I think it's appropriate with the title. Everything's right.
Everything?
Yeah, from Age P06. I have been a listener for years now. When I'm listening to you guys, it feels like I'm hanging with friends.
Fuck yeah.
You are. Love the conversations, curiosities, and connections that are shared. Thanks for keeping it real and all the rad vibes you guys produce.
Aw, thank you for doing that for us.
And a huge thank you to Grateful Steven. It's titled Gratitude. No Simple Road is a magical and fierce podcast.
Aww.
The fun and knowledge has no limit. I am so filled with gratitude and love for the podcast and the magicians. Apple, Aaron, and Mel are beautiful souls. With gratitude, Grateful Steven.
Thank you, Grateful Steven. Hey,
thank you. That made me feel like I feel like a wizard now. You are magical.
We're all wizards around here.
Come on, man. Let's be real. You've felt like a wizard for quite some time.
I'm a wizard.
Am I wizardish? Like Jewish? Yeah. Anyway,
wizardish.
So that's that. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcast. We really do appreciate it. It's not a vanity thing. It helps other people find out about the show. You know, when you're looking for a new podcast to listen to, I don't know if y'all do this, but I do this. And after I look at the title card of the show, I'll click on it and I go down. The first thing I do after looking at who the episodes have on or what they're about is I scroll down to the reviews. And if it has 40 reviews, I don't bother with that show.
Really?
No.
Well, I do look at reviews for products and stuff. And I definitely scroll through the reviews, and not Google, Amazon will always send us stuff on our Alexa and be like, your reviews help other people.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it does. Your reviews help other listeners to find the show. And like, especially when you're specific like that, like it's really helpful. And we thank you. And we wish everybody who listened to the show would do that.
That's
right. Well, then I love bad reviews, like especially like TV shows and movies. If it's a bad review, it makes me very more interested to see it.
I'm going to tell you something.
People are like doo-dooing all over it. It's like
with podcasts, it's usually spot on. When you see a spate like 10 shitty reviews on Apple, and then you put the show on, it's
I've never seen that before, to be honest.
When you get into the conspiracy theory world, and you start going down the rabbit hole of those kind of shows, it's bad.
Okay, this is how I choose mine. First of all, it's usually like medical podcasts or wellness podcasts. That's unless it's ours or something. So I'll listen to that. If I don't like someone's voice, I don't care if it's got a million reviews. It doesn't
voice.
Nope.
That's like audiobooks. I have a really hard time with audiobooks unless it's the dope readers that
there's
do
like
it well.
4 or 5 really good ones.
But
anyway,
clearly y'all don't have a problem with our voices because you're coming back every time, and we love that.
And then the other thing you can do to give us love or just say anything you want to is call the Tepid line
971-808-1524.
And as we've said before, that's kind of open mic. You can do whatever you want. You could tell us a story, leave us a show review. You're open to do what you want.
Tell us what you bought your significant other for Christmas.
Or your grandma. I want to know what you bought your grandma. That's cute.
Okay. That's cute shit.
New oven mitts, maybe a little blanket.
Okay, cool. Last but not least, tell somebody you love about No Simple Road, man. That is how we spread the mycelial network that is the No Simple Road family. I mean, when somebody you love tells you to go check something out, typically that thing that they told you about is cool. So just saying,
Yeah.
All right. Are we doing this?
Yeah. They want to listen.
I think we're to that point where we do this.
You know what? Lastly, until after Christmas, everybody, just a reminder, the week of Christmas, we are not doing a Friday episode. So just so y'all know, next week, Friday episode.
Yeah, you'll have a Monday one though.
Yeah, there will be a Monday, but no Friday. So spend time with your family or your friends. Go
catch
out
up on old podcasts of No Simple Road,
or do what Mel and I have been doing. Watch every Hallmark stupid Christmas movie out there. I highly suggest Hot Frosty
and Haul Out the Holly 1 and 2.
Holly 1 and 2. That we have watched all 3 of those.
Okay,
yeah, it's awesome. Anyway,
it's fun.
Without further ado, the No Simple Road crew gives you
Madeline Hawthorne.
Yes.
Okay.
What's going on?
I I have to warn you, the internet out here is not the best. So I might freeze from time to time, but
We will.
I usually come back.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, it's good to know that you come back.
Yeah.
I'm Aaron, by the way.
So you're Aaron?
I am he.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Hi,
you too.
I'm Mel. Nice to meet you. Is it Madeline or Madeline?
Madeline.
Okay.
Even though it's spelled I-N-E.
All right.
That's
I like to
pick that up
ask.
with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
And then I am the third member here. I am Apple, and thank you for joining us. We finally made this happen. Yay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Can you say your name one more time?
Apple. Apple.
Apple.
Yeah, just like the computer, the fruit.
Like the fruit. All right.
Yeah.
It's weird
Yes.
that you would say like the computer before the fruit.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess you are in the world of
Everybody-
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody knows that.
Madeline, we know who you are, but for everybody that's listening, would you introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about you?
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Madeline Hawthorne. I'm a singer-songwriter based in Bozeman, Montana, where I am right now, and I will be for the rest of 2024, which is great. I am a touring musician. I have an album that I released in June, and so I've been on the road promoting that. I was also on the road all of this year promoting my first record, Boots, and just kind of getting out there as much as possible. Yeah, I don't know. What other
great.
questions?
That was absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
How does it feel being busy?
It feels great. It's always a challenge, right? Because you want to be busy, and then there's always consequences to every action. So being away from home can be challenging, and it can be a lot on your body. So I've definitely had to learn to adjust some of my habits, like some of the ways that I perform, and I use my instrument, my voice. But it's great. I've loved the opportunity to play so much and get to go to a ton of new areas and meet a lot of new people. And I do love performing with my band so much. So I really can't complain. I feel very fortunate to be able to do this for a living.
How long have you been performing?
Well, I guess about 10 years. I moved to Bozeman in 2008, and I went to college here, and I didn't go for music at all.
What were you?
I was a liberal studies. What's that?
I was going to ask what you were going to go to school for.
Yeah. All right.
I was, liberal arts. I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Right.
And then there is a sustainable food and bioenergy systems program that started, I think it was my freshman year. I saw a flyer for an intro class, and I've always loved food, and I garden as much as I can, being a touring musician. Like it's a challenge to make it work. But anyway, I love food. I'm passionate about eating.
Us too.
Yes, yeah.
I just love a good meal and a good drink and good music. I mean, those are just like the things that bring me so much joy. So then I started going out to some of the music bars around town, or when I'd be out eating somewhere, drinking somewhere, I'd see singer-songwriters with their guitars, and I just my family's musical, so I grew up playing music, but I didn't have any desire to be a performer. Well, I always wanted to be a performer. I just didn't think it was in the cards for me. And then, it was like after
particular
college,
reason?
I started. What's that?
Like, was it for any particular reason that you didn't think it was for you?
Well, my mom was classically trained, and she was a classical performer in the Baroque style of classical music. So very niche, within a niche. And, so I didn't have, and then like growing up in the 90s, we didn't have anything but public television. So I didn't have a lot of access to popular music or even to folk music or classic rock. I grew up in New Hampshire and didn't have a car for a long time. So I don't know. I didn't really know what opportunities were out there, I guess. It took coming out to Montana and just seeing people do it locally that got me thinking that was something I wanted to try. And then I started opening. I got opportunities to open for touring bands coming through Bozeman, and I got curious about how do you go further than Bozeman? Like what are the steps you take? And so I just pieced it together and learned by watching what other bands did, and finally got to this point. And I feel like I still have a long way to go, and I don't even know what the end point is, but I'm certainly enjoying the process of growing and learning and exploring from where I started.
I don't know if there is an end point, right? Like,
I don't think so.
Kind of just find what your passion is and do that thing and try and be as true to yourself and the art as you can and put out stuff that you love, right?
Exactly. And learn, right? And grow and be, I love being around other musicians, and I've learned a lot from the musicians in Montana. And then now that I'm out and about and touring more, I'm meeting musicians from all over. I'm spending time in Nashville and just really enjoying that process. And I feel like there's always going to be something new to learn. So there can always be a goal. And, I want to do this for the rest of my life. So I agree. There's no end.
It feels good to know that, right? Like I honestly was like 47 or 48. I'm 53 now. I was like 47 or 48 when I finally figured out what I wanted to do. And it was this.
I love that.
Right?
I love that.
Thank you. And it feels good to finally know what the thing is. And now I can dedicate myself to that thing. Mm-hmm. It's hard when you're just floating. I'm curious though, like you said you grew up on the East Coast. Why did you end up in Montana going to school? Why didn't you go to school back there?
So, the East Coast is obviously, they have fabulous schools and probably some really great music programs. And it just wasn't, again, something that I thought was viable for me. Like I wasn't interested in classical music, at least not as far as what I wanted to do for a living. And I had and still do have a very adventurous spirit. I love to travel. I love to check out new areas, new countries, new communities. And so I just applied to a bunch of state schools out west. And then I met a boy.
Here we go.
I was going to ask about this. This is an interesting story.
Yeah. And he had an FJ Cruiser.
Oh.
What? He was driving out to Montana. It was blue. And I was like, oh, man. So anyway, we've been together 17 years.
Oh
we're
congratulations.
Right on.
And it's great to be home. We actually played hooky he played hooky from work. I'm off right now. So I'm just like a bad influence. And we went skiing today and it was great.
Babe. You don't have to go to work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like, this is, I love having you home, but also it's really hard to get anything done. But it's great. So he was, his name's Henry. He's my husband. And he had gotten into school in Bozeman at MSU. I had gotten into school in Missoula, Montana. Mm-hmm. And so when we met, we both had this interest in moving out west. And so then he convinced me to go to Bozeman. And I didn't care because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to go. I wanted something new. And so then I came out here and just fell in love with this place. And have any of you been to Montana before?
No.
We have not. We've talked to a lot of musicians that are from there,
kitchen dwellers,
and
mainly.
love playing there. It is on our list of places to make it to. We've come very close with the kitchen dwellers and Torrin, and every time we hear people talk about Bozeman
and Montana
and Montana, period. None of us have ever been to Montana. We need to make a pilgrimage up there.
I'm curious,
definitely. It's
Madeline,
life-changing.
what is it about that place that like stole your heart?
Oh man, it's so hard. I feel like my third album is really, it's funny that my first two albums weren't necessarily about Montana, but now that I leave Montana so much and come home, and every time, and of course your home, the place that you've built your community and your life is going to feel comfortable, right? When you push the boundaries and you push yourself and you go to new places, it's always going to feel comfortable to come home. But the mountains here are phenomenal. The natural beauty here and the access that we still have so much of this space that's untouched. It's growing, and a lot of locals aren't very happy with the population growth, nor are they appreciative of the show Yellowstone. But it's nothing you can do about it at this point. And we still have access to areas where you really don't have to share it as much as you would in other beautiful areas of the country. And that might change, but for now, it's still very easy to get out into the mountains, into the backcountry with my dogs and have space and quiet to just recuperate from both the physical demands of being a tour musician, but also those emotional, spiritual challenges. So it's a place that I think inspires creativity in me, as well as it just gives me that space to get back in touch with myself. And I think that that's incredibly important in any career, but especially, putting myself out there all day, every day on the road. I desperately need to come back here and just get in touch with those roots again. So
loving where you live is a very important thing. We learned that the three of us, like me and Aaron, have been friends for 40 years. They've been married for 27 years.
Beautiful.
We all lived in Las Vegas most of our lives, and we moved up here to
Yikes.
Yeah, and then
I said nice. I didn't say yikes.
I said yikes.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, you did.
Yikes is a good reaction to living in Vegas too, but we moved up here to Portland, Oregon in 2016 and like found home. We got here and we're like, oh my gosh, it is so beautiful. There's 4 seasons. There's mountains. You can go to the coast, the mountains, like everything around is just it's home.
Being around nature like that it recharges your soul.
Yeah.
I mean,
it really does. And the Pacific Northwest, man, that's a special place. Like I love touring out there. I'll be out there next year, and usually I think at least once a year, and we have to get in a little hike in of some sort.
Yes.
I've got to get out there because it's so green.
It blew my mind. I remember when we came up here to visit, we're driving on the freeway and like the concrete divider on the freeway had like moss on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, stuff grows on the concrete. Like coming from the desert, it's mind-blowing.
Totally.
When you're doing what you do and like you're touring and you're giving of yourself all the time and you're pouring out emotion, it's super important to have somewhere to come back to like
Recharge.
heal yourself from that. Not that it's like a bad thing, but you need R&R. You need somewhere safe that you're not, things aren't coming at you anymore.
Yeah, or you're like, there's things coming at you and you're being pulled in a lot of different directions. And it's certainly a challenge. And again, like you said, it's not a bad thing. Why would we do it to ourselves if it was a bad thing? Though I think some of us, maybe when we're on the road, we're like, what am I doing? Especially when you talk to your husband and he's like, yeah, I just went cross country skiing with everyone, and we're about to have a fire and grill up some steaks, and you're like, damn it.
I'm sleeping on a hotel bed, and I drove 8 hours today.
or on a floor of a friend's house, because you got to save money everywhere you can. But anyway, so we're on the same page, and I do think New England's a very special place too. But I think for me, Montana, the only place I see myself going from here is to a smaller town further out.
Same.
Yes,
totally. Yeah.
I think that's the only direction that I'm headed. And a lot of people, especially recently, have said, well, how long do you think you're going to be able to make it last? How long do you realistically think that you can maintain your career and live in Montana? And my hope is that I can show people that it is possible. And it's certainly challenging because you're not in the scene, I suppose. You're not physically there.
Okay.
But I mean, I guess for me, I would rather have some separation and be able to, I guess that meditative space is really important for me. And this is where I can get it. So I'm hoping that I can be like the kitchen dwellers there. I mean, I know they're starting to spread out some, but they've made a career for themselves being based in Montana. So I'm hoping to do the same.
Well, I feel like longevity too can depend on your mental and emotional state. So if you're constantly being revived every time you go home off of a crazy tour, that, like you said, it instills inspiration. So that's your new album. That's your new energy to go back out, So I think that it could probably work to your benefit instead of being pulled in all directions all the time because you are in the center of a hub, Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. At least, and I know that being there works for a lot of people. And I think too, getting opportunities. My whole band lives in Denver, so that actually kind of works out well for me too.
That helps. Yeah. There's a hell of a scene there.
And they're phenomenal. We're going to be at the Showdown.
Yep.
Showdown in
in Portland.
Which I'm really excited about. And I know, they get shows all the time, right? So even when they're off the road, they're all full-time musicians. So they have a ton of opportunity to perform. So I get that aspect of it as well. But again, I think as the leader of the band and as the person whose personality is being sold along with the songs and everything else, it's like I have a hard time pulling away at times. Like sometimes when I land at home, it can be a little rough because of that stark contrast between the environment that I was just in and giving 100% to this quiet environment. So sometimes it takes a minute, but it always I always kind of get back to a much healthier place. So again, there's a million different ways to do it, but so far this is working. So
well, and I think you just kind of decide too what you want to make work in life. You're doing something that by nature is difficult. Being a musician is hard, and finding success like you found is difficult
to maintain.
And that's a hard thing. So in my mind, if you can do what you're doing now, you have what it takes to go the distance. Does that make sense? Like, how to manifest yourself and make stuff happen, and you know what it takes to keep yourself healthy mentally and physically. And so you get to decide. Don't let anybody tell you have to move somewhere to do your job. Fuck them.
Yeah. I'm staying.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well,
it's going to take a while for this place to get crowded. So I hope you all can make it here sometime.
We will.
Sure. Yeah, we've got it. Like hopefully next year, make a trip up there and drive. It would be fun to do, to take a road trip.
For a dwellers, because if you're going to do it in the summer,
Yeah.
Dwellers at Pine Creek. That's like the quintessential.
That's what we've heard from them and a lot of other people as well. Is the Pine Creek thing is just amazing. And how big,
right on the Yellowstone River.
How big is Bozeman? Like population wise,
like
do you have any?
Like this big, dude.
Yeah, it's like there's like the university and are we at 100,000? We might be.
Oh wow. Okay, so it's small.
So it's around guesstimate of around 100,000.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Okay.
and everybody hates it here, so don't come here, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's really polluted and ugly.
Yeah. It has like everyone who's been to Bozeman over the last 10 to 20 years is, the amount of construction, the amount that the way that downtown has physically changed. It is pretty dramatic, the growth and how quickly it's happening. However, I don't know about you, but on my travels, I'm seeing that all over.
Oh yeah.
It's just kind of what's happening.
Sign of the times.
We've seen in the 8 years we've been here in Portland, we've seen a lot of growth in this area. And we learned the same thing. Like a lot of people, we do it too. You don't want to move here. It rains all the time.
It's awful.
It's just terrible. This isn't for you.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Vegas. You'll love it there.
Yes, awesome.
Yes, go to Vegas. It's booming.
Well, and Vegas has boomed also since we left, because a lot of people moved from California to Vegas because of just, the temperature in California, just as far as prices, taxes, all of that stuff. Yeah. So I think you're right. Like there's growth everywhere, and it's really just what makes you feel, like you said, happy, inspired. Yeah. I didn't count on how much healing took place when we moved from Las Vegas to Portland. I didn't think about it. I didn't even think about it, but being around these trees put out, they emit this healing frequency that you cannot just come under it. You have no choice but to go under its spell. You know what I mean? Like it just, you shed tears for no reason, or you just feel good for no reason, or happy. And like in Vegas, it's bald. There's, it's dirt, right? It's like, I feel like, it's gorgeous in a lot of ways.
In its own way.
I've learned I love the desert, actually. I love the mountains a lot. And that's really what it was. But like here has mountains and they have trees on them. And so I feel like we moved to the exact opposite, desert into a rainforest, and when you move so dramatically, it changes who you are. It changes what you see. It changes what you want to do, and
how you interact with your environment, right?
Yes.
It's like totally.
Do you think that the place that you live is reflected in the new album?
Yeah, I do. Definitely. Actually, today was so cool. I got on a list from Whiskey Riff. They're a publication that they do a lot in country, and I have a song on my new record that hasn't gotten as much press as some of the other songs, which is totally fine. But I was excited today to see that they put my song "Long Drive to Bozeman" on the list, and I think it's my last song on the record.
It is. I'm looking at it. It's the last one.
Okay. You know how you make a record and then you're like, I'm
done.
Like,
what did I say?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so that's actually a song about Henry and me driving out west all those years ago. And so yeah, and this record, it's a mix. It's also I think so my first record was sort of me getting started as a solo performer and going out on my own. And then the second record is, here I am, I'm touring, I'm trying to figure this stuff out. I'm driving all over Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado. So I wrote a lot of those songs, kind of still mid-pandemic, driving my van, sleeping in my van, doing a lot of this stuff myself. Lots of time just solo on the road. So it's a mix, but it's definitely heavily influenced by the northwestern part of the United States.
I know you said that where you live inspires you. What are some other things that inspires you to be creative lyrically or musically?
Ooh. Well, most recently, I think it would be traveling and witnessing other live music, whether it's like, I got to support some great bands this year. John Craigie, absolutely love that guy.
Love him.
And what a great songwriter and what a great spirit and mentality. He always just makes me feel like he's a mentor for me, for sure. And he just always makes me feel like everything's fine.
He does kind of have that vibe of like, it's good. Yeah.
It's all good. You're doing great. Like, and I feel like every time I talk to him, I'm like, Mickey, is this okay? Like what, because there's no rule book, there's no roadmap. Right. Yeah. And it's kind of hard you're like, is this normal? Is this okay? Am I okay, Craigie? And he's like, yes, Madeline, you're doing great. So I love that. I love that about him. And I love his songs. They're just so awesome. So yeah, being around other songwriters is a big influence. I've just recently started co-writing, which is something I have not done. I've tried it a couple times and just didn't find it wasn't the right match, I suppose. Mm-hmm. And I'm a fairly private person when it comes to songwriting. And so this is pushing myself in a new direction. And I'm loving it. It is
really
so fun. I found some really great writers in Nashville. And it's just when you find someone whose brain works like yours, then you're just two great minds on an idea and things just kind of like happen faster. And it's like a yes and kind of scenario. And it's just been so much fun. So I think there'll be several co-written songs on my next record whenever that comes out. And it's been really inspiring because they also I get tunnel vision because I sit here in this room and this is where I write a lot of my songs. And I can just kind of get stuck like a hamster on a wheel of one idea and I can't really get out of there. And so having someone else go, wait, have you thought about
what about this?
Boom.
Yeah.
So it's been great.
I imagine it's tough too. Like what you're just talking about, finding somebody you can write with. Yesterday we interviewed Pixie and the Party Grass Boys. And we talked to Pixie and Amanda, and she brought up, she goes, when you're a musician, he's like everybody, the people you know and don't know that come up to you, they want to match make you with other musicians.
Yes.
I have a friend that plays trumpet.
So-and-so plays trumpet. You should get together and do something. Or so-and-so writes a song. Do you deal with that too?
Yes. And in a lot of ways, I love it. Or, hey, you sound like this. Or, but I've been introduced to a lot of great female songwriters and performers in lots of genres, specifically Nashville, I think just because I've been spending a lot of time there. And it's been really fun.
Are you one of those people that because I know some folks sit down to write and they get the song, like the whole song comes 10 minutes and they're, oh my God, there it was, lightning struck. And then there's others that have to really work for it. Are you one of those or somewhere in between?
I would call myself an editor. So one thing that I don't know if I consciously or subconsciously decided I was going to do this, but I really make a point to finish the song that if I sit down to write it, I'm going to try to get it done just while I'm in that headspace. Yeah. But then I can come back to it and go, okay, is that my cat is here and now and she's wants to jump up and be a part of this.
She can be. Yeah, she's allowed.
We've interviewed
Oh
cats. It's all good.
yeah. Our dog's laying over on the ground here. Sometimes
Comes in sometimes.
Well, I saw that earlier at the beginning. Something opened the door, came walking in. I figured it was a pet.
Those are my dogs. Yeah, I've got 2 cats and 2 dogs, and they're so hard to leave them.
Oh, I would imagine that's super hard to leave your baby. Oh my gosh.
For everybody listening, it's the biggest cat.
Little tabby orange cutie.
Yeah.
She's a little chubby.
What's her name?
Eva. I named her after Eva Cassidy. I don't know if you know Eva Cassidy's music, but her voice is just as beautiful.
You do duets?
We do. Yeah, we kind of do. She can be really chatty.
I love her. She's amazing.
She was abandoned in the window well of the basement of our last apartment, which was like on 20 acres out in the boonies. And she and her sister, we adopted both of them when they were like just these little abandoned orange fluff balls. And now they've had a good life.
That cat's loving life, man.
Yeah.
Hit the jackpot.
Things really worked out well for this one.
So I wonder, Madeline, do you ever go to your parents for musical advice or input or help with something that you're stuck with?
It's pretty funny. I mean, so my mom, she was a performer, and then when so I've got 2 siblings, so three of us, and she was in the Boston area. And then my dad got a job at the University of New Hampshire. And so she left her, you talk about like whether you need to stay, whether you need to be in the city and kind of in the mix or not. I think starting a family is one of those things that's always a new challenge for musicians. So anyway, she wound up teaching. She started to slow down on performing and moved into teaching at the university level. This is my life all the time.
It's all good.
Barking dogs. And then she also taught at, I suppose, the community level. So she taught kids any age from like 5 up to, a lawyer in his 50s who'd never, gotten the chance to sing and really wanted to learn. And so she taught at all levels. So she, sometimes whether I go to her for advice or not, she's
giving it.
But it's good stuff. Like she'll say, "Hey, I can tell when you sing that note, you're really pushing, and I notice your jaw is tense. So put your tongue on the bottom of your mouth against your teeth and relax your jaw, and that note's going to come out better." And it does. So she's really great with technique that helps protect.
Yeah.
Mom's got you back.
That's invaluable to have that kind of like insight when, like you said, there's already so much that you don't know that you're making up as you go along.
Exactly.
So if you can have like a treasure house at home, like protecting your literal instrument, like,
yes.
Wow.
Have they told you that they're proud of you for what you're doing?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
they have. I mean, they're both, I think they've always been the kind of parents who they never pushed us to do anything specific. They didn't push us to do music, even though they encouraged it, but they always wanted us to finish what we started. So if if you try something, finish it out to whether you're, it's a sport or if you're going to take lessons, at least take them long enough, stick with it. Don't give up when it gets hard. So with that, they didn't push me to be a full-time musician or really to do anything. They did encourage me to go to college, which I do appreciate. I'm glad that I have a college education, just for the simple fact of being able to develop my mind and help develop myself as a woman and as a citizen of the world and of this country.
Yeah.
Like that matters to me. It's not for everyone, but I do appreciate that opportunity. And then other than that, that's how I got here, right? You
Yeah,
know,
totally.
that's my path. So I think that they're surprised almost in a sense because I'm 35. So it's maybe a little bit of a late start, but I think they're having a lot of fun. Like my mom got to see me open for Brothers Comatose at the Belly Up in Solana Beach.
Solano Beach.
Is that where that is? Yeah, or San Diego. Anyway, yeah, she got to see me open for them, which was really fun because she'd never been to the Belly Up. And neither had I. That was my first time there. So
wait till she sees you on stage at Red Rocks.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I can't. I mean, Red Rocks. That is
coming.
The goal.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
I hope.
Madeline, do you want to talk about your band a little bit and just like let everybody know like who and how you all came together?
When Santa comes down the chimney this year, he's going to have a bunch of Melt premium mushroom chocolate bars in his bag.
Hell
and
yeah,
he's going to stuff them in the stocking. And when your family wakes up on Christmas Day, they're going to be stoked because they got mushroom chocolates in their stockings.
They're all going to be like, ho, ho, ho.
Holy shit. After they eat some.
So it is. I mean, it is. It's important during the holiday season.
So check out Melt Mushrooms on Instagram and shoot them a DM. Let them know you heard about them from No Simple Road. They're going to send over their menu of 10 different chocolates, 3 different gummies, and capsules. And they also have the minis for, like Aaron said, little stocking stuffers.
Or a whole bar.
Yeah.
You could, jam a whole bar in the stocking and then see what happens Christmas morning. Just saying, 4 grams
for a good time.
4 grams of their sacred mushroom blend in every bar, a bunch of adaptogens to make them go down smooth, and like we just said, 10 different flavors. So go DM them on Instagram, let them know we sent you. You're gonna get buy one get one half off for the month of December, and yeah, man, Melt mushroom chocolates.
Man, I love them so much. So it started out in 2021 when I was making my first record. And I didn't have a band. So I reached out to Sean McCauley, who's my drummer, and Ace Angfer, who's the bass player. And those 2 guys were in a band called Grant Farm. So I don't know if that rings a bell at all.
Grant.
Wait, Grant Livingston?
Tyler Grant.
Oh, Tyler Grant. Tyler Grant. Okay, yes.
Flat picker, incredible musician. So they used to come and tour through Bozeman. So going back to what I said earlier about having those opportunities to open for a band and then go, oh, well, how do they do it? I literally went to their social media after the first time I opened for them. I looked at their tour list. And then I called every single venue on that list and said, hi, can we play too? Or so, it's just like learning by watching. And I know other musicians have told me that they've done the same thing with my tour list. I'm like, yep, that's
how you do it.
How you learn.
Right. Fine.
So anyway, Grant Farm, they parted ways. And so the timing for me was kind of perfect. And so I reached out to Sean and to Ace and asked if they'd be interested. And I remember telling my husband, talking to him about it. And we said, man, could you imagine if we got Ace and Sean? Like, could you just imagine? And I'm still to this day playing with them. This rhythm section that has been together for over 10 years, like well over 10 years. That's such a magical thing to have that.
Oh, yeah.
To have them just transfer that energy into a new project is so great. So that's Ace and Sean. The most recent member of the band is Taylor Sims, and you all probably know his wife Bonnie from the band Big Richard that's been on the rise. I don't know if you've heard him.
No.
Or not.
We're going to have to check them out.
Well,
yeah. Mel's writing it down.
Yep.
All female bluegrass band, Big Dick Energy.
Oh,
they
shit.
Okay.
They're amazing.
Right
Yeah.
on.
They all have like made up alter ego male personas. Anytime a male joins them on stage, they have to dress in drag. And those are just a couple of fun side notes to the fact that they're four phenomenal musicians, singers, songwriters, all of them. So definitely
duly noted.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Yes.
So anyway, Bonnie's husband, Taylor Sims, is a phenomenal singer, songwriter, and a shredder of a guitar player, originally from Texas. So he definitely gives like a Southern rock vibe to what we do, which I love. And then sometimes we get Taylor Tesler, who's a Fort Collins guy, who's a phenomenal guitar player, multi-instrumentalist, great vocalist, great harmonizer. He'll be coming to Montana for my final shows of the year in just a couple of days. Occasionally we have a great player who he does drums and keys. His name is Al Smith, and he's based in North Carolina, but he's originally from Pittsburgh, and he played keys on my first record, Boots, which I recorded in Pittsburgh during the pandemic. So all that to say, it can be challenging to have a full-time touring band where everybody can play every single show.
Yeah.
And so I'm very fortunate to have a nice network of players that I know I can rely on them. They're going to show up. They're going to know their parts, and they're going to play well. So yeah, that's the
right on.
band.
Is this the band that's on Tales from Late Nights and Long Drives?
Actually, no. So the opportunity to record that album came right after I signed with my manager, Phil, who's with 7S. First time I've ever, had someone on my team besides my husband, who's a great team player. Really, I couldn't do this without him. But when Phil signed me in December, an opportunity to record at Bear Creek Studios in Washington with Ryan Hadlock, that opportunity came when some other band had to cancel. So this week just opened it up.
Oh, wow.
And Ryan Hadlock has worked with some great artists, the Lumineers and Zach Bryan and Vance Joy. So this was one of those, hey, I gotta jump
gotta do it.
Yeah.
And my bandmates were like, you gotta go. We can't make that happen with our schedules, but you go do it. And actually the musicians on that record are all Portland-based players. Louis Longmire.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We know Louis.
Bass. He's on pedal steel, and he plays some electric guitar in that classic rock Louis style that is just the best.
Super sick.
Sid Nash plays most of the guitar and some keys on it. And then Tyler Thompson is on drums, and he used to live in Portland. He is in the band Fruition. And he moved to Pittsburgh years ago, where he now lives with his wife and his son. And he is the engineer of my first record, Boots. And then he plays drums on this other record. So
Wow. Well,
yeah, a lot of love for Portland too.
I was going to say, I'm glad you brought up Portland musician, because I almost forgot our mutual friend, Sean McLean.
Yes,
sax player. I was out with him the other night, and he was wondering who we were interviewing this weekend. And I mentioned, he knows everybody.
You say somebody's name, he's like, oh yeah, I know
I
them.
mentioned Pixie and the Party Boy. He's like, oh, you're going to have so much fun. Tell him hi. Who else?
Yeah.
And when I mentioned you, he's like, he did like that. He's like, oh, I absolutely love Madeline.
Oh,
He's like, you make sure to tell her hi, and it never surprises like he does. He knows everybody jumps on stage with everybody. Is such a good person.
So Madeline, you were at Cascade this year. Tell us about your experience at Cascade Equinox.
Oh man, Cascade. That was wild. It was wild. I didn't get to see as many of the headliners as I would have liked, because as will happen, you're kind of in and out.
Yeah.
It's a rare opportunity to get to spend multiple days at a festival. And when you do, it's so much fun. So we were kind of in and out, but I loved our stage because it was mostly bands, or it was all bands. And I love all kinds of music. I love electronic music. But our stage was awesome. I don't know if you know Stacy Koff or Four Peaks Music Festival. It's in Bend, so it's not super close to Portland. But anyway, she ran our stage, and it was Craigie with the Shook Twins, which was so awesome. Goodnight Texas, which I was on the road with them for that entire month. Yeah, it was awesome. I wanted to see more. I wanted to go to the roller skate.
Yeah.
We were also in and out.
Yeah.
We were there for maybe 5 hours.
Yeah.
We were there for.
Oh, you did the same thing for you.
Yeah.
You had
because sometimes we'll do festivals. And last year, not this past one, but the first year of Cascade, we were able to stay and we were there. Saw the headliners, loved it.
Did a live podcast.
But when you're working, as you know, you have, other engagements or you have to go from one band to another. And so you just kind of miss the fun part of the festival. But Cascade's awesome because it's kind of like in our backyard ish, you know what I mean? And there's so many amazing Pacific Northwest artists there. And yeah, it's just a great time. It's beautiful what they've done there.
For real.
The outfits that people showed.
Yes.
Loved that. I loved seeing this beautiful woman roller skate by, in this cute, flowy outfit. I'm like, whoa, she's roller skating. And then someone goes, well, yeah, there's a roller skating rink. I'm like, we got to come back to this festival.
Yeah.
We got to come back. So fingers crossed it's something we'll get to do again. But man, music festivals are so important. And I know I like speaking with so many people this year. Ticket sales were down across the country. And I think there are a lot of questions as to why. And there's probably not one specific reason, cost of living, I don't even know. But I really couldn't imagine life without those festivals. I really hope that, collectively as a music community, we see the value in that and continue to support those festivals because it's just a beautiful example of how people can come together for a short period of time and input so much positive energy to create something that's so short, but it's just such a magic, and it's very inspiring, and I think it can change lives for the better. So I really hope we need to support.
Yeah, it's a short time and a high impact.
You leave those things altered, and not just because of you've been doing drugs or partying or whatever. I'm talking about from the experience of being in community with everybody, experiencing live music. It does something to you inside that you really. That experience can't be found too many places other than that thing. So I agree. And this musical community and musicians and the people that patronize music are nothing if not creative. So I don't think that the future of festivals is bleak. I think that we will figure it out. If they just need to be smaller, then they'll be smaller and there'll be more of them.
Well, there's ups and downs to everything. And, I got to play some really, so Cascade is a new festival.
Right.
High Sierra has been going on for, 30 something years. Great to have the opportunity to play some new festivals and some festivals that have been around. And, it takes the community showing up over and over again. Live Oak, that's a festival that's been going on in California for 30 plus years. Great group of volunteers that have this well-oiled machine, right? And it takes that input. And I agree with you. I think it's we've got that next generation coming up. I think maybe is that my generation?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Or is it, because like a lot of boomers are running these last festivals. So what is it? So it's boomers and then it's X and then it's
we're X.
Millennials and then it's
Z.
Okay. So I think it's a combination of millennials and X together.
Figuring it out. Okay,
We got
that
this.
makes sense. Yeah, and
I think that's why it's gotten as far, because there has been a lot of lower ticket sales, but say up until the pandemic, festivals were only growing.
Yeah.
There was so many new festivals, one after another, small ones, big ones. So I think that, like you said, cost of living, I think finances for everybody played a huge part in it.
Yeah.
And then, with so many festivals, how do you choose to go back east and come back west and go to the Midwest and go south and up? Like it's, time, you don't have enough money, you don't have enough time, but definitely the want is there. I think that people who love music, and like you mentioned, that girl with her flowy outfit, she made an impact on you. You didn't even know who she was. You didn't even know her name. And that's how it is when you go to festivals. You see like, oh my God, there's Grover, from Sesame Street or something, and like
in a tutu.
You'll think about it forever. And those things, I think, they cause inspiration in us. You could write a song about it. You know what I mean? Like you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I believe that that we're going to see. Maybe we're going to see a change, or maybe just this last year, maybe it was the election, maybe it's coming off of the pandemic still and trying to get back into the swing of things. Because man, right before it was just
popping
I felt like
off.
It was
magical. It was just happening everywhere, and I just felt like the music community in general was just like wow. So. It was a big hit to our community, right? Like a major hit. So I believe it already feels different. It already feels better. It already feels like we're
agreed.
Changes
on the upswing, right?
Well, it also feels like we've seen some festivals go away, but then other ones pop up, like Cascade. And
exactly.
We were everybody was so sad to say goodbye to Northwest String Summit up here. That we got to go twice. It was such a magical festival, and the last one was just it was sad,
bittersweet.
But then like Cascade popped up, and other ones are popping up all over the country, because I think one of my favorite thing, I know one of our favorite things, when you go to a festival, the possibilities are endless. You don't know who is going to jump on stage with somebody else, and seeing that camaraderie of the bands coming together and joining each other.
So happy.
It's
right. How often do you get to be in the same place for a day or multiple days with all of your musician friends? Because they're like ships in the night,
right?
Any other time of year, right? So it's so much fun to get to be around all these great musicians, and the collaborations are just the best.
Yeah, and the music never stops. It carries on into the campgrounds. Everywhere, and it's one of the few places you really get to meet your heroes from bands and stuff, because they're mingling with the crowd and everything. They're out there walking around. It's totally the best.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a weird question. Is that okay?
Of course.
Okay.
Maybe.
So if you could talk to your younger self that was moving from the East Coast out to Montana and give her a couple of pieces of advice, what would you tell her?
Ooh. Well, that's a good question.
It's tough.
Because, I guess part of what that makes me think about is, would I change anything? And on the one hand, could I've gotten started earlier? Maybe. So maybe I would have said, trust your gut and go for it and don't hold back. But at the same time, I'm here right now because of every decision I made. And I do feel, as a 35-year-old, I have a better sense of who I am, of course. So I could tell my younger self something that my younger self wouldn't know, because I don't have that life experience. So, but I would say, if anything, it would be go for it. Like, go for it sooner and get out there sooner and meet people and get inspired and do music. Yeah. So
that's great advice. And, I think that probably applies to a huge portion of people that are younger that like have a dream and either don't have the confidence or don't think they have the ability or the talent or whatever, because we're always our own worst enemy and critic.
Well, and sometimes they don't know too. Like you were mentioning, the road is unpaved. There's still
no book.
Yeah. So it's like when you want to start something as a younger self, it's so daunting. Like, what do I do first? Do I do this? Do I do that? And I think we can get kind of stuck in the asking of that, you know, but I like your advice, that direct, go for it. What is it? Like the thing.
Dive in with both feet and you'll find out.
That's right. Know? And if you hit bottom, you will bounce back up to the top. It will be all right.
Yeah.
All right. One more weird question.
Okay.
At the beginning of the conversation, you said that you love a good meal and food and you have unlimited budget for one awesome meal. What are you going to make?
Oh my God. Wait. Whoa.
These are always the tough ones. They're like he loves these questions. Like pick your favorite kid or your favorite parent.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it would be an all day affair, right? Like, you know, I would be in the kitchen all day. There would definitely have to be like a really nice cut of steak.
Okay.
It would definitely have to be like a really nice, fatty kind of
tomahawk
steak.
ribeyes.
Yes,
yeah, okay.
you know.
Yeah.
And probably just like the highest quality vegetables, fresh, you know, like somehow picked that day and brought to my house, maybe already processed, so I don't have to. Even though, no, I love prepping, but I also love baking. So I would probably need to bake one of my favorite cakes, which I have. Do you guys know the show Bake Off? Great.
Oh yeah.
So love that show. And I got one of their recipe books a couple years ago. And my favorite cake is this Persian love cake. And it has the flour has ground up pistachios and almonds. You use a bunch of citrus and it has a ton of sugar. Every single cake in that cookbook has so much sugar. And I'm like, let's do it.
Let's go. We're having cake.
It's a cake.
Yeah. Come on.
Go all the way. So you like inject the cake with this citrus syrup, and it uses rose water, which was something new I hadn't baked with, and then dried rose petals on top, and it's just like this wow cake. So I think I've made all of this stuff before, but and then I would pay somebody to clean up.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
That was one of the best answers.
Yeah. What about your drink? Do you like, let's hear the drink part. Cause that's completed.
Well, yeah, we had so much fun yesterday. We had plans and we canceled them. We slept in, we went for a hike, like a nice wintry hike, and then stopped in, at a kind of newer spot in Bozeman. That's a little like Pinkies Up. Yeah. But sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
Treat yourself.
Yes.
Especially if you're not planning on it, you're like, oh, right. And this bartender was so much fun. And he was definitely a mixologist. So we had, never had this before, an apple cider whiskey sour. Oh. And it was phenomenal. And it had egg whites on top that made it kind of creamy. And so it was a very like nice wintry spiced beverage. And then he made us a second one, and it was his take on an old fashioned with like a brown sugar syrup and a local coffee liqueur and a great bourbon. So right now it's bourbon season for me. It's whiskey season.
It's cold.
So,
yeah.
That's probably what I would do.
Well,
That's a great answer.
Awesome answer.
Why he is a baker. He loves making cakes, sourdough, everything.
Yeah,
I know.
Total nerd. Sourdough.
Me and Mel are both gonna be like, you need to look up that Persian love cake.
Yeah, I
Check
wrote it
that
down
out.
already. I'm like,
Oh, if you want, I'll take a picture of the recipe and I'll
You
email
have my
it.
number. It's in the Zoom.
Oh yeah, I will.
Yeah.
I promise.
gosh.
I want to also throw out the invitation. When you come up here, if you need a place to stay, we have a big house.
We've housed many
musicians
bands,
come through
many
here.
solo musicians. Like 11 people have stayed here.
No
There's
way.
a bathroom. There's like an entrance. It's amazing.
man.
You would love it. And Henry is more than welcome to stay to the band, whatever.
Oh. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is how it happens. This is how you're able to get from, this early stage to, getting somewhere like the Kitchen Dwellers are.
Yeah.
It's because there's people like you who help us when it's really, really hard. This part where you're trying to grow to that next phase might be, I can't tell. I guess I don't know if it's the hardest, but it certainly feels like a really big hurdle. And the finances, I will not lie, they're a really challenging part of the whole process. And so to have a soft place to land with friendly people who love music, it means a lot. So
And a cool dog.
Our pleasure, for real.
Well,
Yeah.
it's what
I'm gonna come stay with you. It's gonna happen. So
Do it.
Yeah, you'll have a home
Thank you.
cooked meal. You have a washer and dryer.
We hook it up
access.
here,
Yeah,
Madeline.
it's
We
no
do. We
joke.
hook it up.
Aaron said it a long time ago when we started hosting. It's our pleasure. This is our way of giving back to you who are putting everything on the line to bring your talent to us. It's like the least we could do is have you home cooked meal, a nice bed, a shower, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that sounds, when you're going from truck stop to truck stop,
No thanks.
you're eating on a budget, so you're eating lots of gas station food. So a home cooked meal with people who love music is when you can't go home and you can't recharge because you have to be out there.
Mhm.
That's just like a little snippet that gives you that little shot of dopamine so you can keep going.
Good.
Yeah.
So
And before the way that the show works, we do like an intro. We announce the guest, and then I usually play a little of their most recent music, like maybe a minute and a half or something.
yeah.
Do you want to pick one of the songs for me, or do you want me to pick?
Ooh, you pick.
Okay.
Okay.
All
I'm
right.
curious. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
yes, cool.
Right on. Thank you so much for your beautiful, powerful voice, Madeline, and for sharing today with us and for keeping it rocking and
Hell
showing
yeah.
other people what's possible. Truly.
Well, thank you. I mean, getting a chance to talk about what you do is a really important part of it, just to process it all. And I think to experience gratitude through just talking about it and looking
Yeah.
back on what an incredible year it has been. So thank you for the good conversation. And I feel like I'm in your living room and I feel
chilling.
like
We're hanging
having
out.
this conversation, whether it was recorded or not.
Us
Like, I
too.
feel like-
Us too.
Absolutely.
Believe me.
So, thanks for keeping it real
Yeah.
and asking the good questions.
Right on.
Right on,
And hit me
Madeline.
up and let us know what's going on and send me the cake.
Okay,
All right.
promise.
All right.
All right, Madeline.
We'll talk to you soon,
Bye.
Take care,
Madeline.
Madeline.
Congrats on an
Yeah.
awesome year.
Thank you. We'll see.
Aw.
That's a star. And like you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a trip.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
to be able to talk to her now. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's on the ride. She came highly spoken of. She came up when we talked to Craigie, and like I told her, Sean McLean, when I told him who he was like,
I feel like Chris
absolutely love
Howland
her.
mentioned her as well.
I think so too.
Yes, he did.
He did? Okay.
Yes, he
Okay.
he did, and that it was because how did she come onto our radar?
Phil, her manager.
Phil, okay, and then all of a sudden, once we were like booking her, then it started coming up.
Everywhere.
Well, and I
with other
remember seeing
people
her
and-
name, Cascade. I remember seeing her name. We didn't see her performance clearly, but like,
we didn't see any. Well,
Yeah,
we saw
we-
Sponge,
yeah.
and that was it.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow. Phil, thanks, man. She's amazing. And it's always a trip to me because we don't know what we're going to get. We don't. You can hear somebody's music. You don't know their personality.
No.
And that conversation was so like easy.
Totally.
And fun.
And her it didn't happen before because she was traveling. Things happen when they're supposed to.
Totally.
She's at home, completely comfortable, relaxed
Just
with her
skiing.
pets and everything.
That cat. I'm not joking. God, everybody listening, the cat's head was maybe just a little bit smaller than a human head.
Well, but
right
before we went on with her, we were looking at her Instagram, and we saw something with her cat, and I mentioned
that's a big cat.
It's a big, beautiful cat.
So if she's coming through your town, go support her and check her out.
Absolutely.
She's putting it on the line for you, man, and she's a powerhouse.
And she's serious about it.
And she ain't fucking around.
No.
So go check her out, support her, buy the merch, get your tickets early. You know the game, everybody. All right, we will be back on, what day is it? We'll be back on Monday with another edition of the No Simple Road
Weekly Rewind.
Weekly Rewind. Until then, take care of each other, man.
Yeah.
Smile at a stranger. Safety third. Hydrate. And it's almost Christmas. So, be nice.
Enjoy the holidays.
Love y'all.
Slow down.
Peace.
Have a salad.
Have a salad. Love it, guys.
But it's a burden. Family needs has been deferred, and hella means been the earth, and alchemy can bring the birth, the melody of a newborn. So persistent, so resistant, so insistent, so commitment, so resilient, or haven't you learned it? No simple road. 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 My windshield is shattered as I focus through the spot in the corner that is still intact. The react is both a defense mechanism as well as a fear. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A=A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
Hi, this is Henry Kay, host of the #1 music history podcast, Rootsland. Come with me on a journey to Kingston, Jamaica, where we explore the world of reggae music and the untold stories of some of the genre's greatest legends. From the ghettos and tenement yards where the music was born, to the island's iconic recording studios. We are so excited to team up with Osiris Media, the leading storyteller in music, because as you'll hear, sometimes the story is the best song.